because people are not serious with that as they're supposed to be doing. We have, for example, people are not, we have enough resources in this country. The climatic change, of course, is there, but we find that in this country, we are able to produce our own food. Today, and we, through what we have gone through the drought, imagine we importing food from Egypt. We importing food from Egypt, yet if you look at Egypt compared with Kenya, Kenya, for example, Lake Basin, where most of these people are coming from, has almost, there are 8 rivers in Lake Basin, and we can be able to do irrigation. Egypt has only got 1 river, and yet this country, Mr. Speaker, import rice from Egypt compared to what we have here. I worked in Lake Basin, for example, and I can tell you that we have enough resources. Even that Lake Basin alone should be able to afford this country and even be able to export some of the food that are produced in these areas. And you can imagine us importing rice from Egypt, a country that has got only 1 river. And yet here, apart from, of course, Lake Basin, which has got 8 rivers, and I can name them, you know that. We could be able to do irrigation in that area, but we are not able to do that because people have just taken it lightly. So we just have to work as Kenyans. We have enough resources here. We have very good climatic change. And therefore, as a matter of discipline, Mr. Speaker, we should be able to feed ourselves and be able to export, to be able to do 1 or 2 things for our country. Lastly and not least, imagine us having a debt of 6.5%, and it's because of corruption. Nothing else. So therefore, Mr. Speaker, we actually should do something about this so that we can be able to direct the resources to the right place, not misdirecting the resources. And that's why we are having problems, and that's why we are having debts that actually up to 62% is unbelievable. But that's what you have been told, and therefore I support this appropriation bill, and I hope that Kenyans at least once, let's get discipline and be able to direct our country, be able to export. Look at the tourism, for example. It's only going down compared to what we had in the past. Now that we don't get enough tourists in this country, and when they come, they are taken to places that are not supposed to be taken, and they don't come back. I support.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Yes, what's your point of order?
Are you?
Once again, Mr. Speaker, you know, this week and the past week, we've been discussing the budget and the appropriations and all these things, and we have properly executed a lot of issues on this floor. And the next motion, Mr. Speaker, is still about what we're discussing now. And I know members have expressed interest. And hold on, Honorable Okello. So I'm requesting, Speaker, that you call them over to reply so that we move to the next order, and which is the same, and members are going to address the issues.
Order, Honorable Member, your point is made. I now propose the question that the mover be called upon to reply. I now put the question that the mover be called upon to reply. As many not appear and say aye. Aye. As many contra appear and say nay. Nay. The ayes have it.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And I want to laud all the members who have contributed and assure them that we were actually taking notes. Myself, I was personally doing so. From Honorable Anyonyi, Honorable Mogaka, my good brother, Honorable Badi, Honorable Rote Kachelimba, Honorable Owen Baya, my brother Twalib, Honorable Badi Twalib, my Honorable Kagongo, who is the chair for water, Samuel Atandi, one of the committee members, Honorable Boko Miremba, Professor Barto, Dr. Onchoke, who is also very experienced in these matters, and of course you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I just want to highlight a few things and agree I hope the consultations can be lower. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I want to do it very briefly, but it is important to note some of the issues that we have had because they enrich the debate. And Honorable Speaker, today we have had a very quality debate on this matter, and especially across the spectrum of the entire economy. Honorable Speaker, some of the issues that I said before about A&A have been highlighted by the members who have taken part in the debate. And I want to bring one matter that I've heard also from Honorable Badi, the issue of having a bloated government. And I agree 100% with you, Honorable Badi. And actually what we did, and it is important for members to also listen to this. In this budget that we made of year 2023-2024, we never approved any increment in personal emoluments or PE for additional staff of government, except for a few areas. We only approved additional staff in TSC, in KMTC, in trainers of our TVETs, and Honorable Speaker, we made it very difficult for any MDA to actually add staff. Because, Honorable Speaker, the government of Kenya has more staff than we need. What we need to do is actually reallocation. On a normal constituency, Honorable Speaker, you get there is a youth officer, there is an Uwezo Fund officer, there is a women fund officer, there is a gender officer. Honorable Speaker, you get people, duplication of like 9 government officers serving in a single sub-county, roles that could generally be done by just a few. So what we may need to do in future, Honorable Speaker, is to be able to optimize on the resources that we already have other than adding into more. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, allow me to go back to your topic. And you got the entire 10 minutes and we learned a lot from it. As I reply, and from the benefit that I got, and I agree with you on many respects, but I want to give you reasons why we are not committed to borrowing further. The case, for example, you cited on Japan. Japan has over 250% debt to GDP ratio, or a percentage of debt in regards to GDP. But Honorable Speaker, Japan borrows very cheaply. At some point, the 10-year board of Japanese government was actually on negative territories. Can you just imagine? They borrow money, they pay less. Secondly, Japan is a net lender. As much as we read Japan has a lot of debt, Japan is also the #1 external creditor to the US government. But also lastly, the trap of overborrowing. Japan has overborrowed, then the interest rates are low, Honorable Speaker. Most of this debt, of course, is domestic. But if you look at the books of Japanese economy, they have had no real growth since 1994. For 30 years, their real GDP has remained at 4.9 trillion US dollars. So we don't want to get into that trap where you actually don't even have inflation, you have deflation. When a country starts having deflation, it is a worse territory than inflation, because then you tell the consumers to postpone their spending. When consumers postpone their spending, generally what that means is that production goes lower. And I don't think Kenya would be very safe. And lastly also, the example you cited on the US. US, they almost had a shutdown the other day. Of course, they wanted to increase the debt, which they succeeded. But 70% of the US debt portfolio is actually internal. Therefore, they are able to manage, and also the greenback is their currency. Honorable Speaker, a luxury that we don't have. With those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I beg to reply.
I don't think there's any need to ring the bell. Order, honorable members, we have quorum. Honorable members, I now put the question that the supplementary appropriation number 2 bill, National Assembly Bill number 31 of 2023 be now read a second time. As many of the opinion say aye. Aye. As many of the opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to authorize the issue of certain sums of money out of the consolidated fund and their application towards the service of the year ending on 30th June 2023, and to appropriate those sums for certain public services and purposes. Order number 11, the County Government's Additional Allocation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 23 of 2023. Second reading.
Honorable Ndindi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the County Government Additional Allocation Bill, that is the National Assembly Bill number 23 of 2023, be read for a second time. Honorable Speaker, as even the title of the bill suggests, this is the County Government's Additional. I want to underline that, Honorable Speaker, because I don't wish to take too much time moving this motion so that more time can be spread across other members. Honorable members, the bill we are discussing is a bill on government's additional allocation to the county governments. Additional allocation means these are monies over and above the Kenya shillings 385 billion that we are allocating as equitable share. Why do we give additional allocations to counties, Honorable Speaker? Part of the reason why we give additional monies to counties, they are segmented in various areas. One, they are foreign-funded programs, and especially domiciled in agriculture. And I can see the chair for agriculture is here. If you look at that additional allocation bill, Honorable Speaker, you'll find that there are many programs, because Kenya is largely an agricultural economy. There are many programs, either through loans or grants or foreigners, that is foreign funded, that actually goes into counties. These are the monies that have to come to this House, and of course emanating from the Senate, so that we give our final approval. Honorable Speaker, there are other elements. For example, when we had devolution, we realized there were 5 counties, Tharaka-Nithi being one of them, that actually had no headquarters. Honorable Speaker, when there was no headquarter or any structure to call a county headquarter, the national government felt it would not be very proper for us to commit equitable share into building county headquarters. So, for example, in the same bill, there are 5 counties that get money from GOK as grants for building, or as additional revenue for building of county headquarters. And they have been funded for some time. Some of these headquarters are at 90% completion, and we funded them with anticipation that the monies we have allocated will be enough to conclude this particular area. Honorable Speaker, there are other areas in terms of conditional grants, and I am sure the members I can see are already perusing. Number 1, our report is the Budget Committee, but also number 2, the bill itself, so that we then realize what are these additional monies that we are giving to our counties. As I come to the close, Honorable Speaker, I am very elated with the kind of partnership that we are seeing between the county governments and the national government. One of the areas that will really benefit the economy of Kenya is the partnership of the national government with the counties, Honorable Speaker, insofar as building aggregation and industrial centers is concerned. Allocating 4.7 billion Kenya shillings, then counties match a shilling per shilling, That will be 9.4 billion Kenya shillings. This monies, Honorable Speaker, will be going into building of aggregation and industrial centers. And again, as I said, Kenya being a largely dominant agricultural economy, this will go a long way, Honorable Speaker, in harnessing prices for our farmers. You know, Honorable Speaker, when farming or agriculture is pegged on weather, when agriculture is pegged on seasons, Honorable Speaker, farmers are not able to optimize the best prices. Because once you have proceeds or a production from tomatoes, for example, you have no luxury of keeping them for you to fetch better prices in future. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, the reason why post-harvest losses accounts for a huge loss for farmers across. Honorable Speaker, when you go to, for example, cereals, farmers lose between 20 to 30% in post-harvest losses. The highest losses, Honorable Speaker, are actually in perishables. They go even up to 50% when you talk about fruits and vegetables, because some of these fruits come in season. And when it is a season, the market gets flooded with oversupply, yet demand remains the same. So, Honorable Speaker, these aggregation centers are coming also to address that, because all of them will have a cold room where farmers can keep their produce, Honorable Speaker, so that we have a flat supply curve, and therefore farmers are able to fetch reasonable prices and optimal prices for their produce. Honorable Speaker, I want to request this House, as we debate this bill, you are free to debate anything about counties. It's not just about the additional revenue. You can debate anything around county governments. You can debate, as Honorable Gigi Kagombe suggested, you can debate anything about the budget, because this is also a budget-making process. So, Honorable Speaker, I thank you, and I request one of the members who have served for very many terms, I think this is the 5th term as a politician, and with a great experience on how county governments operate, because he served in the defunct municipal councils of the previous dispensation, the honorable member from Nakuru town, the chairman for mining and environment, the Honorable David Gekaria to second.
Thank you, Honorable Nyoro, Chairman, Budget and Appropriation Committee.
Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We've been told we can discuss anything, which is important. As I rise to second, Honorable Speaker, the first thing that I wanted to agree with you is from the past, the former motion that was there, was about how our farmers are suffering. And it is true, Honorable Speaker. We were being given a story where in the last regime, a minister would get investors, but because he also want to do that business, he would be discussing the investors are in one room, they are waiting in his room, and he would transfer from his room to the other until he gets the best prices for his cut. That's when now he would come back. And I totally agree, Honorable Speaker, that what you're saying, if we could be able to take that seriously, then this country and our farmers would be. I take this opportunity also to thank the Chair Budget for the good work that his team is doing. Of course, with his team, I've been able to be summoned before the committee severally. And I want to admit that this committee has pledged to be able to listen to what chairs of various committees are proposing from their respective committees, and they are taking our input into consideration when we are making some of the amendments when we are doing our budgets. And I totally want to thank you, Chairman, for the good work. And as it was said, young as you are, only a second term in this parliament, and of course, currently now holding a very senior position in one of the very, very important committee, I want to say that you and your committee, you are doing a good job. Honorable Speaker, when I come back to this motion, the county government additional allocation. It has been accused, the Kenya Kwanza government has been accused that we are not, we want to kill devolution. And Honorable Speaker, it is very evident that from the few months that the Kenya government, the Kenya Kwanza government has been in administration, it has actually portrayed the necessity and the need for us to improve what counties are doing in terms of as per Schedule 4 and what counties are supposed, the responsibility of county governments. But at the same time, Honorable Speaker, it is the honors of these county governments, particularly with their respective governors, to understand that they should not always wait for monies coming from the national government. Of course, as per the Constitution, we are supposed to allocate money to county government, and this Kenya Kwanza government has been able to improve on that, and we hope it will continue increasing the allocation in the years to come. But at the same time, Honorable Speaker, these county governments have the responsibility of their own collection at their own counties. Honorable Speaker, it is so sad that these days you go to a county that it is just waiting for allocation from the national government. I want to thank a few counties, like in my county, Nakuru County, and I want to thank my governor for her resilience in not only waiting for allocations, much as they have not been received their monies from Treasury for the few days, at least whatever the governor is collecting, she is able to at least do the operations and maintenance of the county, and at the same time trying to talk to different financial institutions to be able to meet the salaries and other. And we have never, in Nakuru County, we've never had a problem in terms of where workers go on strike. So it is important for counties also to take responsibility for what they are supposed to collect as their own resources. And of course, they should be told, Honorable Speaker. Counties have had a tendency of cross-border double taxation that you find if you have an advertisement, for example, on your vehicle. Once you cross from Nakuru County to Kericho County, there are some charges that, but again, I want to say that this double taxation should be discouraged so that we can continue encouraging more business people and more investors to be able to actualize what they're, and we stop this aspect of double taxation. On regards to and of course, the chair budget has properly explained why we are giving additional resources to counties. And one of the fundamental issues, Honorable Speaker, that is the key and the backbone of this country is about the foreign funded programs, particularly on agriculture. And it is important, Honorable Speaker, that the former regime had negotiated for coolers, only for the coolers to arrive, and they were never given to counties. And I want to thank the government that it has made a commitment that these coolers which were given as a fund by our partners, now they have found their way to various counties where they can be able to preserve. And as the chairman has indicated, a lot of our farmers do not get the potential of their maximizing what they are supposed to get from their crops. And it's, most of it is destroyed either through transportation and particularly the perishables where you are not able to preserve them in the coolers. So the actual giving of coolers and encouraging counties to be able to install this thing in various places for purposes of privatization, it will help the farmers to be able to get enough yield or a maximum input or income from their proceeds. About the relationship and partnership between the national government and the county government, Honorable Speaker, and I think that is critical, that constantly, I think the Deputy President does chair a meeting between the national government and the Council of Governors, which, of course, they discuss various issues related to the relationship between the national government and the county government. And I want to say, Honorable Speaker, that if we can be able to have a proper relationship between the national government and the county governments, then, Honorable Speaker, then this country will be able to. But also, Honorable Speaker, just to touch on a little bit on about the supplementary budget. And I want to thank the Budget Committee led by Honorable Ndereti. Honorable Speaker, it is important that Treasury has had that tendency of removing very important funds that are supposed to go towards addressing some key projects within various ministries. But Honorable, that committee has stood firm, and it has already given back these monies to respective ministries. Honorable Speaker, Treasury must realize that whatever is budgeted for and items and approved by Parliament, I think committees have an opportunity to have ventilated on most of these things. And it is important for them to realize that what the Budget Committee, and I want to thank the Budget Committee for what you have done. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I second.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that the County Government Additional Allocation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 23 of 2023, be read a second time. Yes, what is your point of order, Mr. Bowen? Honorable Bowen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the chair of budget actually in the had raised that we reduced the publication of some bills here from 7 days to 1 day because of many other bills which are supposed to be prosecuted. Many of the members who are here also, some of them they have sat here from morning up to now, they are seeking to contribute to various bills. Mr. Speaker, would I be in order that we reduce from 10 minutes per member to 3 minutes to enable all these members to speak on these many bills?
What's your point of order, Honorable Dr. Gogo?
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. It is on the same reason that I was thrown out of this house yesterday. Parliament is not going to be turned into a voting machine. We need to expedite issues through debate, through looking at the pros and cons of matters, and the world is watching us. We will not just keep passing bills and we just pass. County, additional monies that are allocated to counties is a very, very important matter. And we are not going to have members from the opposite side keep shutting down and gagging down members and changing. I belong to the House Rules and Procedures Committee. And we are not going to have the rules and procedures just changed at will, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I have been in this house what is out of order, Honorable Speaker, is that we are not going to have members keep changing House rules and procedures at will to make it convenient for them.
Order, Honorable Gogo. I appreciate your concerns, but on the reduction of the time that members would want to be allocated is a matter that can only be done with the leave of the House. The chair has very little, and this is the beginning of it, and the honorable member has risen on that. I will put the question on that, and if in the wisdom of the majority of the members here, you feel you don't need 3 minutes, you need 10 minutes, then so be it. If you're going to need 3 minutes per person, per member of parliament, then it can only be done with the leave of the House. It's not them changing, that's how the rules are. Honorable members, I now put the question that the time for every member to contribute on this bill be reduced to 3 minutes. As many of the opinion say aye. Aye. As many of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. The House rules are set by and large when it comes to such things by the members themselves. I want you to understand the traditions. This is an area. The only time when it can get frivolous is when a matter is being debated and somebody rises and says the mover be called upon to reply. then the chair has got the wisdom to look at the minority and the majority on both sides and then say, this is a frivolous one. But on the time you need to, for every member of parliament to deliberate on a bill, that is by the leave of the House. Proceed. The Honorable Waluke.
Additional. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me chance also to speak. Honorable Speaker, many of us came here earlier, like Kikali and others, to fill the quorum. And I concur with the Mheshimiwa Kogo, Honorable Speaker. There are members who can come even just now and are given chance, and those who came earlier can sit here for a whole day. Honorable Speaker, I want to support the bill. I want to thank the Honorable Didi Nyoro and with the committee for the time they have taken, Honorable Speaker, to bring up this budget appropriation bill, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this country has a lot of potential, and Mr. Speaker, if the people of this country can support agriculture the way you put it earlier on, Mr. Speaker, this country is going to move forward. I urge Kenyans and members of this House that let's be together and give space and time and support to this government, because it has just come in power the other day. And let's give it a trial, let's give it a support, our total support. And this country, I know people are feeling pain because of the economy coming down, but within a very few months or a year, Honorable Speaker, the economy of this country is going to stabilize. With these people, Didi Nyoro and the Chair of Finance, they are steady on their duty, and let us support them. Honorable Speaker, agriculture need to be supported. If the government can support a farmer, this country depends on farming. The economy of this country, Honorable Speakers, depend mostly on farming, coffee, tea, whatever. And Honorable Speaker, I believe that this year, people have been crying about anger. We are going to harvest, we are going to have pamba harvest, Mr. Speaker, of maize, like where we come from. Mr. Speaker, in another maybe 2 years, we will not be crying of food shortage. And I believe and thank the President for bringing up the fertilizer to the people of this country, Honorable Speaker. And we are ready as leaders from where we come from to make sure that we work together with our
Honorable Mutunga of Tigania West.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this motion. Honorable Speaker, I wish to thank the chairman of the Budget and Appropriation Committee for the work that has gone by, and also thank the President for guiding this committee very well. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Senate for presenting this bill to us. Additional resources to the counties, Honorable Speaker, is a good idea, but this idea must be tagged to results. Honorable Speaker, we know we have been having issues with several counties not even delivering what they are supposed to deliver. Investment must be done appropriately. We must have results for the money that we give to the counties. Honorable Speaker, in the previous government, the previous session of Parliament, we saw many investment conferences at the county level, inviting probable investors into the county to try and figure out what they can do with the resources that they have. But we have not seen these things happening this time. We would like to caution the counties to go that direction. Counties must also be having clear plans of operation besides what we call the county integrated development plan. They need to explore what resources they have so that they may be able to open up into the investment. Honourable Speaker, one of the things we understand this bill is bringing about is support to aggregation investment in aggregation. Aggregation is important in the view of what we have at the county level in terms of the kind of economic activity that our people are engaged in. Most of them are farmers, and they are smallholder farmers for that matter. I would like to bring to the attention of the counties that there is a bill we passed in the last parliament, which is called the warehouse receipting law. The warehouse receipting law presupposes that people can have warehouses. We can have private or public warehouses, and these warehouses, they keep their ware, and they have a receipt. The warehouse receipt can enable one even to get a loan from the bank as a security. So they need to explore utilization of this law in these aggregation centers where we have also possibilities for industrial parks. Honourable Speaker, post-harvest losses in this country lead up to, can go up to 40%. 40% is about half of the loss of what the farmers have already been able to produce over the years. They take at least a crop in this country will take, the fastest growing crop will take 3 months. Honourable Speaker, I think I have not spent 3 minutes. I'm sure you have taken my time. Honourable Speaker, these losses are as a result of infestation, fungal infestations, and that can be contained through warehousing. The link between the warehousing and the receipting council is important so that they can work together. Honourable Speaker, there are a few issues that I've wanted to bring on the new big budget. When we raise money as a country, sometimes we have to borrow.
Honourable member can have 1 additional minute. Mutunga, proceed.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I am happy that the country is looking forward to compressing the debt burden. I'm happy that we have been able to start by, as a government, to start by assessing where we were and where we want to go. The fact that there's been a reduction from 1.1 trillion to around 700 billion in terms of the budget deficit, in terms of the borrowing, is very, very important. In the last government, Honourable Speaker, we saw a situation where a government wanted to move from the percentage, the debt percentage as expressed as a percentage of GDP to absolute figures. When you put your debt as absolute figures, you cannot communicate to other countries because we don't use the same currency. But proportionate is important because we are able to communicate and we are able to know where we are. Honourable Speaker, finally, the counties need to clear their bills. We have many counties not clearing their bills. There are many pending bills which needs to be cleared. They also need to look at the wage bill in relation to the investment in development. Counties and support were done for investment, not necessarily.
Members, the Honourable Abdisirat Khalif.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We are all aware that we are undergoing a serious credit crunch as a country. This is partly due to the fact that we have surpassed our debt ceiling. Hence, we cannot borrow competitively. Mr. Speaker, I welcome the introduction of genuine and serious taxation measures that can help the government perform its obligations. However, Mr. Speaker, we must cap wastage and use this scarce resource prudently, Mr. Speaker. As we allocate more funds to the counties, we must also introduce anti-corruption measures and serious austerity efforts to curb wastage. We are known for misusing public funds as a country, Mr. Speaker, and we need, therefore, to use this little resource where it is needed the most. We don't want a situation where we give more funds to counties and we don't ask for what we call how they use those funds. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Makali, followed by Dr. Gogo. Proceed, Honorable Makali. Dr. Makali. What's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, I rise on point of order number 1. Mr. Speaker, we know the chair exercises discretion in the debates in the House. But Mr. Speaker, I came to the chambers as number 2, second to Honorable George Murungaru. And I pressed the button, Mr. Speaker. Up to now, I've not been given the chance to speak, and we feel, Mr. Speaker, you need to exercise fairness. Thank you. My name is Justice Kemei, MPC Gowit-Soin.
Order. To begin with, Justice Kemei, you are not the first one on this list now. There are people who are ahead of you to begin with, if I look at it. Secondly, and you have to understand this, the chair exercises discretions on a number of divides. A house is many shades of opinion. There are political parties, there are regions, their gender, all those things are there. So it's on the basis of that, in his own wisdom, that you will get an opportunity, and you're going to get an opportunity very soon. For God's sake, on such issues, when you really want to raise it, get close to the Speaker and say, Mr. Speaker, but don't rise up there on a point of order number 1. How does it become point of order number 1? Standing order number 1. Standing order number 1. Proceed, Honorable Makali. Has somebody from Eastern Kenya, to be more precise, the south of the Eastern Kenya, ever contributed on this motion this morning? Today? No. Look at all those divides, and it's on the basis of that the Speaker has got to be very fair, and I promise you I'll be very fair. Proceed.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to add my voice to the count government's additional allocations bill. Honorable Speaker, this is a very important bill. How I wish I had more time to talk about it, but now that the House has resoluted to have only 3 minutes, I will go by that. Honorable Speaker, this bill is a bill which allows the counties to get resources from the government, the national government, from development partners. And it is important, Honorable Speaker, we note that most of the proposed activities under these resources are very critical to the county governments because they are activities which revolve around climate change, agricultural value addition, issues of health, supporting county governments construct county headquarters, issues of industrial centers as proposed by the Kenya Kwanza government, and also some resources being directed to the informal sector improvements, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, from my experience and interaction with this kind of resources in the past, we have realized that we are having some gaps. And I just want to focus on some of the gaps so that we help the process. The first one, Honorable Speaker, is we lack what we call a monitoring and evaluation framework between the 2 levels of government. That the national government is pushing this resource to the counties, and once the counties get the resources, there is minimal follow-up from the national government to find out whether these resources have been used for the intended purposes. Honorable Speaker, I want to single out one of these items. Support to the county government construction of headquarters. Honorable Speaker, I've been in the budget committee for the last 11 years. I can assure you, Honorable Speaker, we have been allocating money for this county headquarters for the last 5 years. And up to now, they have not been completed. We are not aware of what levels are they in, what pending balances are there to be paid, and what needs to be done to complete them. So we continue pumping money to them. And I think, Honorable Speaker, that's an area we seriously need to look at as a National Assembly and ensure that we monitor these resources so that we just don't release resources to the county governments and they don't help the county governments, Honorable Speaker. The other issue, Honorable Speaker, some of these sectors, all this money is not going to all the counties. Some money will go to selected counties, others will go to all the counties. And it is important also, Honorable Speaker, that if money is set for specific activity like climate change, that the money is also directed to that activity, because some of these counties, because of the challenges of resources.
Please give an additional minute to Honorable, additional half a minute. Proceed. Additional half a minute.
You know,
Conclude.
Honorable Speaker, you know, this is an area of a lot of experience. It becomes very difficult to debate in but let me just close by saying this. It is important we also make sure that we provide cash to the counties. The issue of liquidity, the exchequer releases, Honorable Speaker, is a major challenge to implementation of projects in this country, and it is high time the Kenya Kwanza government improved from that area. I support, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Gogo, Dr. Gogo.
Thank you. I thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, and thank you for the guidance you've given me this morning. I highly appreciate, and I rise to support this particular motion brought by the chair budget. County governments are an important component of our governance structure as a country. And Honorable Speaker, it is important that they are well-resourced so that they're able to discharge their duties. Any additional money, Honorable Speaker, that is given to the county governments will allow us as a nation achieve food security, because agriculture is a devolved function. But I want to implore the county government that there are many agricultural extension officers who have been well trained by our universities and colleges to come and do extension work. And when this is done in a guided form by technocrats and people who are well versed with that area, then I think we are going to have better production in our farms and achieve food security. So how I implore the county governments that if there is any monies that are taken for agricultural improvement and improvement of the food security situation, that they should kindly employ agricultural extension and education officers. Number two, Honorable Speaker, early child education, ECD centers, are in deplorable condition in most counties, Honorable Speaker. And any additional money that is given should be taken, especially if it targets education at the earliest in the ages of our children. So it is important that more money is given to our counties, Honorable Speaker, and monies that are targeting climate change, Honorable Speaker, should be put on climate change, because climate change will always remain a current issue. And I wanted to go on record as I support this matter, that Honorable Wangare, who is a member of the panel, speakers panel, is a friend of mine, and we have done so many positive things for our constituents. So anybody like David Ochieng, who wants to come between me and Honorable Martha Wangare to throw me out of the house, it should be made known to Honorable Ochieng that I'm not his age mate. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Justice Kemei, followed by the MP for Igembe Central. Where is the MP for Igembe Central? Okay. Proceed, Justice Kemei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity you've given me. And as I speak, Mr. Speaker, I want to say I'm obliged by the direction that you've given on my previous point of intervention. Mr. Speaker, I did that because I came quite early so as to contribute on the previous motion, because I had very deep interest on that particular motion. However, Mr. Speaker, let me just make my contribution on the motion which is on at the moment. I want to join my colleagues in the National Assembly to say thank you to Honorable Ndindi Njoro and the Honorable Kimani Kuria. The stewardship of the committees of budget and finance, we must appreciate. And as we do that, Mheshimiwa Ndindi Njoro, please, the philosophy is good. The methodology is good. Please look into implementation of the budgets that you've done. That is where we have the biggest problem in this country. Coming to this particular motion, Mr. Speaker, I support the allocation of additional funds to the county governments. If we look at the 2010 Constitution, Mr. Speaker, it was about three things, basically: democracy, devolution, and development. Mr. Speaker, while we support devolution and while we support additional revenue to the county governments, we must also question the use of these monies going to the county governments. And we must also question why the revenues in county governments is coming down, Mr. Speaker. We would have expected the county governments to use the money that comes from the national government to the county governments, and in addition, rely on the revenues. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I agree entirely with the Budget and Appropriations Committee on the increase on the element of monies going to agriculture. This country remains agricultural. But my worry, Mr. Speaker, is that much as we've added money to the county governments for agricultural production and productivity, we are still way behind the Maputo Declaration, which demands that we allocate 10% of our budget to the agricultural sector. You look at the budgets going to the agriculture in the county governments and the national government, it's still far below the 10% treaty which we signed. In addition, Mr. Speaker, the use of those resources of the county government cannot go on quite well if the extension officers are not there. At the moment, you can see there is no increase in productivity, there is no increase in production because the county governments don't have extension workers. Finally, Mr. Speaker, and this applies to
half a minute for Justice Kemei.
Finally, Mr. Speaker, to Ndindi Nyoro, these budgets will be meaningless unless we fight mismanagement in state corporations and in government agencies, unless we deal with issues of inefficiencies, unless we deal with issues of staffing, these budgets will be useless. So may I support Mr. Speaker, saying once more, saying thank you for you giving me the opportunity to contribute. Thank you, and thank you for the additional 1 minute. Thank you.
Before Igembe Central. Proceed. The mic, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. May I take this opportunity to congratulate the chairman, the chairperson of Budget and Appropriation Committee for this well-placed bill. Mr. Speaker, as much as we plan on how to earn more, to allocate more funds to the county, we should think of how to raise more revenue in order to have a sustainable economy. And Mr. Speaker, to earn the revenue, we must plan on how to reduce consumption and increase production. I thank the government because it has allocated some funds and even subsidized production in fertilizers and seeds, the work which is being very well done by the Minister for Agriculture, Mr. Lentori. Congratulations to the government for this. Mr. Speaker, the funds that are allocated to the counties mostly is sent to be going to the agriculture, and it should improve mostly on even on infrastructure to the agricultural areas. For example, in my constituency, there is an area around Goyoyo, Dambiro, and Kajo, where we produce a lot of mangoes and even pineapples, but the roads are impassable. The county should take charge of those roads through these funds so that the farming should be beneficial to the farmers to increase the more needed revenue in order to improve on this cash. Mr. Speaker, we also have to target more on how we can export more. Mr. Speaker, the area where I come from, we produce a lot of miraa and we have a lot of market outside. We will challenge the government to improve on export, especially in an area in Djibouti where we have a market of more than 6 tons that has not been exploited, and it could be raising a lot of money to earn to this kitty, because we need to earn more revenue so that this allocation can be meaningful. Finally, Mr. Speaker, as much as I congratulate the committee, I also need to work to challenge so that we work more on improving on our reducing the corruption, so that every shilling goes to the projects and area where it's meant to go, so that the common mwananchi can benefit from these additional allocations that we are giving to the counties, and the benefit should go to the mwananchi. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Women Rep for Kisi, Donya Doris, followed by the MP for Lagdera.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. arise to support when we are dealing with county issues, because Donya standing here comes from Kisii County, where we have good rains. If we can practice good irrigation, Kisii County itself can supply Kenya, the whole of Kenya, with food. We are blessed with good rains and even natural stones. Honorable Osoro's constituency, which is South Mugirango, has the best soapstone. We wonder why even the ministry can't do anything about these soapstones. Meaning, if Kisii has proper irrigation, we have good roads, then the government does something on the soapstone, we feed the whole of Kenya and even our neighboring countries. Our food baskets will be full. When we add a combination of what we love from Trans Nzoia, they plant a lot of maize, counties to do with the counties like Kakamega, we will have enough. It's only that we don't do our calculations well. We miss a little. Just as I can give example, when I was looking at the budget, Mr. Speaker, they allocated 940 million to the Ministry of Education to deal with the issues of sanitary pads. I just want to elaborate on, we have misplaced priorities. You give the Ministry of Education to handle an issue that can be handled by women reps. So in essence, what does Donya mean? If we do the right thing, we allocate resources to the right places, we will not be begging, no one will be complaining. Even the demonstrations that happen in our country, it's because people are hungry, people are suffering. If people have jobs, they will have no time to participate in these things. So as I sit down and donate some minutes to other members, let us have priorities fit in a particular place than misplacing everything that can help our people. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Honorable Abdikadir of Lagdera, followed by the women rep for Bomet, followed by the Honorable Murugara Rakanidi.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order.
Thank you.
Order, honorable members. Proceed. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this very important bill, County Government Additional Allocation Bill. Mr. Speaker, as you know, as the pastoral community, we had a very long period of drought and famine. Most of the livestock has been wiped out, such that now our people are turning into agropastoralists. I see we have allocated resources to the county government, and these resources mostly on agriculture and livestock improvement. But we have one problem. We have a problem with the counties. Counties have no accountability. They're becoming rogue counties. There's lack of accountability, there's lack of planning, such that these resources you are allocating might be misused. I fear, most of this money allocated is loans and finance from World Bank and some other donors. And these loans, we are going to pay for it. But once these loans are not utilized properly, we are going to pay for loans which had no impact completely. So what I will urge is that counties must be accountable. We do support them for allocation of this money, but they must be accountable also. They must be accountable. They must be also using this money in a manner that will have impact on our communities. Otherwise, we just take loans, just like the previous governments. These loans are being misused, and then we have nothing to show off. Mr. Speaker, I think for the purpose of planning, the government should know now that 50% of pastoralists nowadays are becoming agro-pastoralists. They should plan on that. They should plan and allocate resources on agro-pastoralists. We have one big problem is that we don't have rains. I mean, the farming there is based on irrigation. So if we don't improve our irrigation, if we don't put a lot of resources on irrigation, it means that this will also fail. Mr. Speaker, I do support. Thank you.
Order, the Honorable Murugara. Did I say Murugara or which was coming first? The Bomet. I thought I had given it to the woman Rep Bomet and then you follow. Proceed. Toto, you don't want, you want to donate it to Murugara. Then proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this chance to also raise and contribute. I want to join my colleagues and say I really support this motion of the equalization fund to our counties. You realize, Mr. Speaker, most of the counties, they are doing so badly because of inadequate resources. I want to talk of the issue of electricity, Mr. Speaker. You realize in my sub-county where I come from, even in my home area, there is no electricity. And we have very many youths who are just finished school. They could have been doing welding, kinyozi, and other activities, Mr. Speaker, than going to Bomet town where there is stiff competition. Mr. Speaker, you realize also in Bomet County, some of the hospitals, they are not doing well because of lack of resources. Mr. Speaker, I support the motion. We also support the issue of agriculture, where we will have solved the issue of food security, and we will have solved the issue of unemployment. Mr. Speaker, I want to donate my minutes to Women Rep Elkeo Marakwe. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Order the Honorable proceed. You can donate this. Honorable Murugara. Honorable Murugara, proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have listened carefully to the debate, and I've also looked at the order paper at order number 12. I wish to donate my time to the House and then stand up under standing order number 95 so that we call upon the mover to reply and we go to the very important matters.
Order, you are given an opportunity to contribute. You did not rise on a standing order. So if you
thank you very much.
You can sit down and then go on a standing order.
I donate that to the House so that we are able to move on. Point of order.
What's your point of order? Aika, what's your point of order? It is. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know my voice is so loud, so when I'm not heard, I understand. The mic was not working. Mr. Speaker, what we are discussing, Mr. Speaker, has a time limit. We cannot be doing an exercise in futility. By end of financial year, we ought to have finished this. Mr. Speaker, I'm standing on a point of order 95.
Okay.
That the mover to be called to reply. Thank you.
Called upon to reply, that's all. Okay. And order. First of all, before I make a decision on that, I want to recognize the presence of Udhiru Genesis School, who are in the gallery here, and we welcome them. Please welcome the school of Kikuyu constituency, none other than the majority leader's constituency. I am talking about a school from your constituency and you're on the phone. The Honorable Ichungwa Kimani. Now, the other school that I'm going to recognize, which you have to welcome, is the Nginda Mixed Secondary School of Maragua. Please welcome that school. The young boys and girls from those schools, we welcome you. You see a good example. You're the future leaders. Thank you. Now you can rise on your point of order. Again, you said your point of order? Your point of order was done. Taken, well taken. Well taken. Order. You don't say order, Speaker. Order. I now propose the question that the mover be called upon to reply. I now put the question that the mover be called upon to reply. As men of opinion say aye. Aye. As men of contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable members, there are other bills that are coming, and since they're all interrelated, the chair will certainly make a point of giving you who have not had an opportunity to contribute on this, to contribute on the next one.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I would really have wished to donate time, but at the 95 you cannot donate time, honorable members. And therefore, I want to thank all the members for their contributions on the county government additional allocation bill, which we were in the second reading. And Honorable Speaker, I beg to reply.
Honorable members, I now put the question that the county government additional allocation bill, National Assembly Bill number 23 of 2023, be read a second time. As many after opinion say aye. As many contribute say nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to provide for additional allocations to county governments for the 2023-2024 financial year, the responsibilities of national government and county governments pursuant to such allocation and for connected purposes. Order number 12,
Next
Committee
order,
of the Whole House.
Honorable members, be standing.
Order, honorable members. Honorable members, we are now in the Committee of the Whole House to consider 4 bills. And the one we are going to start with, honorable members, is the Supplementary Appropriation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 31 of 2023.
Clauses 2, 3, 4, and 5.
I propose the question that clause 2, 3, 4, and 5 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 2, 3, 4, and 5 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
First and second schedules.
Honorable members, I propose that the question that the first and the second schedule be part of the bill. Honorable members, I now put the question that the first and the second schedule be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Title.
Honorable members, I propose the question that the title be the title of the bill. I now put the question that the title be the title of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 1.
I propose the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
I now call upon the mover to move reporting. Honorable Dindi Nyoro.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Supplementary Appropriations Number 2 Bill, that is National Assembly Bill Number 31 of 2023, and its approval thereof without amendments.
I put the question, which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Supplementary Appropriation Number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill Number 31 of 2023, and its approval thereof without amendments. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, having completed that, now we go to the Appropriation Bill, National Assembly Bill Number 27 of 2023.
Clauses 2, 3, and 4.
Honorable members, I propose the question that clauses 2, 3, and 4 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clauses 2, 3, and 4 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Schedule.
Honorable members, I propose that the schedule be part of the bill. There is an amendment. Mover, the chair, Honorable Dindi Nyoro.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I beg to move the following amendments: that the schedule on the appropriations bill, that is Bill 23 for financial year 2023-2024, be amended as it appears in the order paper, and especially on vote D1094, Honorable Chair, and then B R2041, Honorable Chair, and R2044. The ramification of this, Honorable Chair, starting with the latest that I just mentioned, it is tidying up the budget for the Parliamentary Service Commission, which usually happens as we refine the appropriations bill, Honorable Chair, to place the figures where they should be. So there is not much movement. Where there is something that members could note is on D1094. Members, as you are aware, we passed the finance bill yesterday, And in that finance bill, there is the housing levy that is there. And that housing levy is now a revenue stream. That amount that we are raising from the housing levy is money that will be going into the housing programs in this Republic of Kenya. So basically what we are doing is to be able to apportion the same amount we are raising on that side of revenue to apportion the same on this side of expenditure. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, and I move the amendment.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, I rise to support that particular amendment. And Chair, you remember yesterday, and I think it was, I don't know if it was a county MP for Kisii or another member.
Honorable members, I propose that the schedule be amended as proposed by the Chair. Majority Leader, you may proceed now.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Sorry, I started contributing before you proposed. Honorable Chair, I was saying I was rising to support that amendment because, Honorable Speaker, Chair, you remember yesterday, I was saying I don't know if it was a member for Kisii who asked whether, no, it was the minority whip who drew reference to the railway development levy and said at some point in 2018 when RDL was created, it was sold as something that would help to settle the Chinese loans on SGR, and later it was opened up. And this amendment, as I promised the House yesterday, is to basically buttress what we were saying yesterday, that we will ring fence the housing fund to ensure that this money goes to no other purpose. Because once this money now is appropriated, is collected and it goes into the consolidated fund, without being appropriated to the relevant line ministry, then that money can go into debt payments, it can go to construction of roads, it can go to payment of free primary education or other government uses. But through this amendment, we are now ring-fencing this money and ensuring that all the money that will be raised out of the 1.5% on the housing fund will go to the budget of the Ministry of Housing to help actualize that dream for housing and that agenda for housing. And Chair, as was indicated by the Chair of the Housing Committee yesterday and during the second reading, the first batch of 100 units per constituency, and I'm told by the ministry the first 29 constituencies are actually ready, including members from our friends in Azimio. And I'm told even the leader of minority has submitted his list of land, public land, where affordable housing can be done. And therefore, that's why, Honorable Speaker, I was thanking members yesterday during third reading of the finance bill that indeed, even those who publicly oppose the housing fund, when it comes to the actualization and implementation of these projects, they're in support because they know it is a good thing for this country. And I want to encourage all the members of parliament who are here to identify public land where in your constituencies you can implement the housing agenda. 100 units in your constituency will create a minimum of 800 to 1,000 jobs for young men and women back in your own constituency. And I must tell the people of Kikuyu, the land at the new DCC's office has already been earmarked for the first 200 units. And young men and women from Kikuyu constituency will be able to access jobs. And it's not just what was being sold in the political bashing of the finance bill, that it is just manual jobs for the people that were saying watu wa kukoroga. It is from architects, engineers, electricians, even land surveyors who will have to demarcate the, part of the lands that we are planning to construct on, lawyers who will also benefit from the conveyancing that will come out of the processes of sale of the units that will be sold. And above all, Honorable Chair, the urbanization that comes with the units in each of the constituencies where these units will be built. That urbanization will also help to consolidate land and afford the people in those constituencies more land for agriculture to secure our food situation in the country. And therefore, I support this amendment, and I am glad that the chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee has done exactly what we promised yesterday during the third reading of the finance bill, that this money will not just disappear in some pot. It will be earmarked for actual construction of houses. And I can tell everybody to now watch this space as construction equipment and young men and women get employed as construction equipment rowers in Kisii County, where, like in Kiambu County, people are very congested. And I hope now Honorable Ndonya, the women for Kisii, will be able to see the real benefits of what we did yesterday in the finance bill and support implementation of these projects. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable members, if you wish to speak to this amendment, kindly hit the intervention button. And I can see the Honorable Dr. Pukose.
Thank you, Chair. And I want to support the amendment by the Chair Budget Committee on this. Honorable Chair, the housing fund is actually, as the majority leader has put it, is actually one of the key projects that is going to unlock the economy of this country. It has many benefits in that those who will benefit directly, right from the construction, the plumbers, the masons, the carpenters, electricians, and then those who will benefit indirectly, the architects, those who will be selling the materials for which this is going to be used. And you remember in many of the public participations, people have insisted that we would want the materials that are going to be used in these projects to be sourced from the surrounding community. So it is going to benefit them. And I think I also want to laud, yesterday we saw the amendment that was done in the EBZ zones, where now they'll have to source materials or the materials from within without paying any taxation. So I think when you look at the amendments, when you look at the bills that this government is doing, I think we are on the right track. And I would just want to ask Kenyans that let's be patient. Let's put our foots together. Let's come up together as a team, and this country will be great. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair, I want to support.
Thank you. The Honorable Nyakundi, member for Kitutu Chache North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also want to support this amendment by Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, who is the chairman for the Budget and Appropriations Committee. For sure, they have done a good job. Housing is one of the key development factors for the Kenya Kwanza government, and I want to support this amendment because they have decided to ring-fence this money that is going to the housing project, and these will go a long way in giving jobs to the young people who are suffering outside here and creating a lot of employment and households to young people who don't have houses. For a good example, like in Kisii, we have shortage of land. These will go a long way in giving houses to the young people in our area. And I'm very sure that Kenya is going to be a construction site, and many young people are going to benefit from this housing levy. So I want to thank you and so much. Thank you.
The Honorable Beatrice Elachi, on my left.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I also want to support this amendment. And Chair, I know every Kenyan would wish to have a house. And I support. And I'm in Nairobi. And I have seen the houses. All I'm saying is when we are building these houses, and Parliament must help so that public service or public works should not bring in specs where you look at a house and you wonder, was it a kiosk or was it a house? Today, if you go to Pangani, affordable housing, you will find those houses and you'll feel it is not right for any Kenyan to buy such a house. When you walk into the project that is being done by China, we with government now, it is unfortunate, and so we are saying, let us look at the specs. Let us support housing, but housing of dignity, and ensure, even as we build, we remember we have children. Let us remember we need schools for those housing, because you bring in more, they will come in. We must have all the facilities that is needed. So as I support, and I support the president, and I told him, I support housing, but I want to see dignity for every Kenyan and for our people. So with those few remarks, Madam Speaker, as I support indeed the amendments of the chair and appreciating him, and also we speak about the county governments. Let us see the governors coming up with good memorandums with the national government, so that we don't go into a fight the way we did the health equipment thing, and then now a few years down the line, we start again pulling each other on the same project. Have clear memorandums with the county governments so that we do a good project that everyone will feel their money was spent well. With those few remarks, I beg to support.
Thank you. Lastly, Honorable Martha Wangari.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also rise to support this amendment and concur with many members who have spoken to it that we are going to make a difference using this levy. But more importantly, Madam Chair, this will be a shared function between the national government and the county government. So after here, what we shall be dealing with and we should be dealing with is the implementation, and that cooperation with the counties, Madam Chair, must also benefit the specific county where these projects will be done. The issues of sourcing labor, the issue of sourcing materials, the issues of getting even the workforce, Madam Chair, must be able to benefit the specific area that those projects will be done. But more